If you've ever wondered why some of your Google ads show up high on the search engine results page and others feel stuck way below, or your ad doesn't show up at all, then this episode is for you. So we're breaking down the 5 key things that decide whether or not your ad shows up and what you actually pay Google Ads. If you're new here, my name's Josiah Roche, and my team manages around $300,000 in ad spend every month, so I'm going to explain a little bit about ad rank and how that actually works. So number 1 is that ad rank is not just bid times quality score anymore. So a lot of people still think that ad rank is just your maximized cost per click multiplied by your quality score, and that used to be a decent way to explain it years ago, but it's oversimplified and it's not how it works today. Now, as you know, every time someone searches for something on Google, a live auction happens in real time. So Google basically looks at all the eligible ads and recalculates your ad rank in real time. So for that search, on that device, in that particular location. So you don't have one fixed position or score for a certain keyword for ad rank. You might rank really high for a search term on a mobile device at 10 a.m. in the morning and then show much lower down the page for the exact same keyword around 10 p.m. at night on your desktop computer, even if your bid hasn't changed at all. Don't get me wrong, your bid still matters, but it's just one piece of the bigger puzzle because Google's trying to answer 2 main questions, right? 1, will this ad help the user right now and what they're searching for? And will this click make more money than the next best ad from the other advertiser, right? The 2 main things it's trying to answer in real time. So it weighs your bid alongside things like the likelihood someone actually clicks on your ad, how relevant your ad is to the search term that someone typed in, the quality of your landing page, speed and relevance and all that kind of stuff, where the user is, what device they're on, and who they actually are, like what their behavior is, and how useful your extra assets are, like your site links, your callouts, your structured snippets, all that kind of stuff. And this is why you see 2 totally different advertisers with different bids showing up in similar positions on the search engine results page for Google Ads. So if one has better ads and pages, they can show up much higher than you, even if they're paying less than you. So just bidding more doesn't really cut it anymore. It's not part of your strategy for Google Ads because you can throw as much money as you want down the drain, but Google will just keep charging you more. Like Google can charge you up to 400% more per click if you're not playing by the rules. So it'll just charge you more per click if your quality is super low. But I want to break it down into parts that you can actually control. So when Google decides where to rank your ad, it looks at things like your bid, your ad quality, your expected ad CTR or click-through rate, your landing page experience, and your assets or ad extensions. So in this case, your bid is actually very simple because it's just your max cost per click or your max CPC. But you rarely pay for that full amount in most auctions if you're playing by the rules. You just have to pay enough to beat the next highest ad rank underneath you, right? So then there's ad quality. So Google wants to know if your ad is actually useful for the search, because if it's vague and it looks like clickbait, your quality will go down for your ad rank and your quality scores. And if it's very specific and matches with the search intent of what the person is actually searching for, your quality scores will go up and everything else will go up in line with that as a trend line. So that breaks down into 3 main levers. You've got your expected click-through rate, and then you've got your landing page experience. And the final thing is the assets like site links, callouts, price extensions, and so on. And if they can add value and boost the chance of a click, then they'll give you a small bump in the auction because they've got better expected ad CTR and things like that. So ad rank isn't just bid, it's bid plus your quality, plus your click-through rate, plus your landing page, plus your assets. So Google Ads takes a lot of different things into consideration, as you can see now. So expected ad CTR is one of the biggest levers that you can pull because it's how your click-through rate can actually drive up your ad rank score. So expected CTR is Google's prediction of how likely your ad is to get clicked on, right? So it's based on how your ads have performed before, how similar ads perform, and how people react to yours across devices, locations, and audiences, right? So if your ad consistently gets more clicks than other people in the exact same space and niche, you'll show up much higher on the search engine results page, and people will be more likely to click on your ads instead of scrolling down to the bottom. So this is where your wording really matters a lot because, of course, when people are searching for things on the internet, they move super fast. They're drawn to ads that feel like an obvious answer to what they just typed in. So if they can see what they typed into Google, and that's the first thing on your ad, then of course they're likely to click on it. So if someone searches for something like emergency plumber near me and your ad says like 24/7 emergency plumber and it says like, get to you within 60 minutes or something, then that obviously feels like a very clear match to the keyword you're bidding on and the ad itself. And of course, when someone types that into Google and sees that ad, they're going to click on it. Their expected ad CTR is going to be super high. But if the ad says something like professional plumbing services, call today, like it's very boring, basic, no numbers psychology, no power words, no specific keywords in there, then over time you'll get much fewer clicks for that ad and a very, very low expected ad CTR and a lower ad rank, which means that your ad may not show up at all. So instead of just raising your bids and hoping that will fix your actual ads, then you need to write better ads that actually match the search intent. You need to use the same words that your customers are actually using when they're typing in something into Google. You need to make the main benefit obvious in your headline. Like if your benefit is get to you in 60 minutes or less, then put it in the ad, try to put numbers in there. Add proof, like social proof. Like we've helped over 150 customers in Sydney. Add the location in there if you can. Use dynamic locations, dynamic keyword insertion. Add as much details as you can in a way that's using psychology, power words, convincing someone or persuading someone to take that next step. So as expected, CTR obviously will rise when you're doing the right thing. You'll see much better positions and lower cost per clicks because you're not relying on just brute force of bidding or raising your money or bids to actually win all the auctions, because you will never win that battle. Number 4 is that ad relevance is about intent and not just the keywords that you're bidding on. So a lot of advertisers assume relevance means sticking the keyword in the headline and done. That's it. And so you'll find a lot of amateur advertisers sticking all their keywords into all the headlines and they're just tanking their ads or expected ad CTR because they're not using psychology and not actually winning the click-through rate wars that people go on. So the main thing you want to do with your actual headlines is make sure that it actually lines up with what the person is trying to do or why they're searching for the thing they're searching for. So if someone searches for men's trail running shoe and your ad says big sports sale, shoes, clothing, we sell equipment and gadgets and stuff, then of course they've got shoes in the ad, but it's way too broad, right? But if someone's searching for like teeth whitening cost, right? They're obviously comparing the cost of teeth whitening and different options out there. They're matching up vendors and trying to go for the best option for them. And let's say that your ad spoke about like smile makeovers by expert dentists without addressing anything to do with price or comparing options or, here's the 5 best ones in the area. Then it totally misses the intent. It misses the whole purpose of why someone's typing in price in the first place, right? So you want to group your keywords by intent and then send people to the relevant landing page that actually speaks about that intent. So maybe it's a blog post talking about the top 5 dentists in that area or something like that and what they specialize in, then that's more relevant, of course, right? And you need to speak about that in your ads. Like here's the 5 best dentists in your area, like in Sydney or whatever, it's got the location. Of course, that would be its ad group on its own and that would be separate from like dentist near me. Those would be 2 separate kind of ad groups. So if you're a plumber, going back to that example, you'll group your keywords like this. So you'd have like for your urgent searches where someone is like in a rush, they just want someone to their door in 60 minutes. You'd obviously include different ad groups like emergency plumber in its own ad group, burst pipe repair, because of course if someone bursts their pipe, they're in an emergency, they're ready to fix this now. So that would be in another ad group for burst pipe repair and that would go to its own landing page. The emergency plumber will go to its own landing page, etc. And then for any of your like non-urgent searches where the intent is like someone isn't really in a rush to make a decision, then you could, let's say that you got bathroom renovation plumber or something like that. Not that people are going to type that in, but let's say that's the case, then you put that in a separate campaign and separate ad groups for that, right? Because it's not exactly like the intent is a bit different from your emergency style keywords, right? So these kind of ads, when someone's looking for a project to be done, then there's more focus on like how much experience you have, how many reviews you've got, quality, all that kind of stuff. For the emergency style, you've got to base it all on intent. What does someone really care about? Like they want a quick number to call, the nearest plumber to get out there and do the job. Like that's what they want. So when your ads match the actual user's real intent or the person's real intent of why they're searching, then your click-through rate will improve dramatically, your relevance will go up, and your ad rank will follow suit, of course. And that brings us to what happens after someone clicks, which is number 5. So number 5 is that that your landing page experience matters just as much as your ad. So Google wants to protect its users, like anyone using the platform. So if your page is super slow, it's super confusing or misleading, then your ad rank will suffer dramatically, even if the ad itself is great, right? There's no point sending someone from an amazing ad that's highly detailed for emergency plumber near me, and they go to some generic homepage selling all their services for like 7 different things. Like, it's not going to have the same impact, and Google knows this. So your landing page experience is Google's way of scoring how helpful and relevant your page is after the click. So they look at page speed, especially on mobile devices. They look at the message, like what are you writing on there, and does it actually match the ad itself and the page? Like, do they synchronize with each other? How clear is the offer? Like, how easy is it to use? How clear is the offer? How long do people stay on the page? What do people actually do once they land on that page? Again, like that's a big metric, especially for SEO as well. So if your ad says like something like free consultation, as a call to action somewhere in there, but your landing page hides that behind like pop-ups or long forms, or it's not even on the page at all, and people bounce because they can't see the free consultation anywhere, that's what they saw, maybe that's the reason they clicked, then that will hurt your landing page experience because of your bounce rate, people just leaving straight away, which can of course drag down your ad rank. So you end up paying for more, you get worse quality scores, you have to bid higher just to enter the same auctions, and it sucks. So to fix it, of course you need to make sure that your headline matches the ads and what it promises, and you need to keep your call to actions super visible right away if that's what they're expecting. You need to remove all the distractions. Try to get rid of menu items on the top of the page if you can. Try to make sure your website loads super fast. That's like mandatory now, but still a lot of websites are super slow, especially on mobile device, or they don't look good. They don't have super quick call to actions that you can press with your thumb, like at the bottom of your screen on your mobile. So the smoother and more consistent that experience actually feels from the search to the ad to the page, and it's all synchronized and it all feels right, then of course the better chances that you will show up higher with your ad rank. You'll get discounts on your cost per click, you'll get better conversion rates and click-through rates without having to outspend anyone or spend a ridiculous amount of more money on the same ads that you're running. So just to recap, the 5 things that actually decide your ad rank. So it's not just bid times quality score anymore. That's no longer a thing. So that's a big one that you learned. Number 2 is Google uses your bid, ad quality, expected click-through rate, landing page, and assets to determine your ad rank. And then number 3 is expected click-through rate is one of the biggest levers that you can lean towards and push your ad rank much higher. Number 4 was your relevance, means matching the actual user's intent or the person's intent, not just the keyword that you're bidding on and just stuffing a bunch of keywords just because you think it is relevant. And then number 5 is your landing page experience can obviously help or hurt your ad rank in a dramatic way, and you can't neglect it. So your job is not to trick the system. It's to be the most useful, relevant result in that exact moment someone is searching for something online. So if you do that, of course, Google's going to reward you with much stronger positions at the top. It's going to lower your cost per clicks over time. You get better quality scores, and everyone's happy at that stage, right? So I hope that helps. If you found this video useful, hit like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next podcast episode, and drop any questions below. More than happy to answer them. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.